It's the Subway NFL postgame show, and while a lot of people may not have seen this game, it certainly was fantastic. Cleveland comes from behind to win in overtime, 33-30. Phil Dawson, the game-winning kick, and Derek Anderson does it again. Phenomenal in this football game. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz alongside NFL.com's Pat Kirwan and CBS Sports' Charley Casserly. And when you look at this ball game, Charlie, the one thing that stands out at you about Cleveland's offense?
The offensive line, 49 passes today, no sacks. Joe Thomas, he's the guy that solidified this offensive line. They can build it around him. They can single him up on the left side. He is the key to this offensive line. He's having a terrific year. And Derek Anderson, he had one of those. He was a little slow starting, but once he got going, played real well for him.
It's unbelievable what he can do he has such a quick release. And we also saw him today out of the pocket, scramble for first downs. Played a phenomenal football game.
Yeah, he's not a gawky runner. You'd think at 6'6" he'd be a little more awkward looking than he does look, but he got on the bootleg, and in overtime, another critical first down to get that thing going. Eric Steinbach, another lineman that Charlie and I were talking about before the show, they're getting some G-power with him. And Jamal Lewis, they're able to pull this guy, get him in front of Jamal, down on the goal line. Jamal only 37 yards, but 4 touchdowns. Last guy to do it? Guy I idolized as a kid, Leroy Kelly.
Yeah, well, the last guy to do it for Cleveland with 4 touchdowns. But, the other aspect, that he may have only had 37 yards on the ground, but Jamal Lewis did have 60 yards receiving. And, of course, the big play in overtime, which most people won't see unless they see highlights of it. But a screen pass from Derek Anderson got the block downfield from Braylon Edwards. On the other side, Seattle got the ball first in overtime. And they had the ball down to the Cleveland 44-yard line. They had a first down. They reviewed the spot. They had to go for it on 4th and half a yard. Charlie, Shaun Alexander not in the game.
No, I mean this is your franchise back, and to me he is not the same back that he was a couple years ago. He just doesn't seem to have the same strength, same explosion, same power, same quickness. Just not the same guy. But again, you need half a yard, game's on the line, and he's not in the game. And he averaged 2.3 yards per play. Morris actually has been a better back this year. They went with him. Didn't make the play.
I think it's been 4 or 5 weeks since Shaun Alexander has had 3 yards per carry. And we've talked about this a lot the last few weeks about the fact that his step isn't there. Shannon called him Tiptoe Alexander. I mean, nothing to the line, no burst.
Well, I don't know this for a fact. We got to study the guy closer. We'll let the year play out. But Charlie and I have been around a lot of backs that fall off a cliff fairly quickly. One day they're a great player, the next day they're not, and it's over. The suddenness is missing, the power is missing. He used to be a pretty good cutback runner, too. I don't see the athleticism to do that. I see a lot of stop and start stuff from him. But I prefer to talk about the Seattle defense because they're built pretty well, and they spent some money on pass rushers. Charlie said it, no sacks today. But there were 7 dropped passes by the Cleveland receivers, so you got to take a look at that secondary, too. There were people open all over the place.
Marcus Trufant was beaten a lot in this game, but a lot of these balls went to Kellen Winslow. He had 11 catches, and a lot of it down the middle. I mean, Charlie, Kellen Winslow was there all day. One other thing here. Cleveland's won 4 of the last 5 games. If Pittsburgh loses at home to Baltimore, you've got a 3-way tie in the AFC North with 3 teams at 5-3. That's unbelievable when you think about what Cleveland, where they started and how the Fire Romeo Crennel chants were starting in the first week of the season. They let go of their starting quarterback.
Well, I think the thing there is you get blown out by Pittsburgh in the opener. So you got to give credit to Romeo Crennel for keeping that team together. And, of course, at that point, they trade Charlie Frye, and Derek Anderson has emerged and is playing real well for him. But you got to give some leadership credit to the head coach in that situation to keep it together.
I agree 100% with that. And right now, they remind me a lot of the Cincinnati Bengals a couple years ago. They've got firepower and offense, but I don't think the defense can get any better. We talked about that before we started the show. They are what they are. They're going to have to just hold on for dear life and hold guys to 25 to 30 points.
25 to 30 and score 31 to 32 because then you get the victory. For more on this game or any other in Week 9, and of course that includes the New England-Indianapolis game, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For Pat Kirwan and Charley Casserly, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.